say, you do sit there every week, and I know how you'll react. But given the relative position of the two teams, it does look like one of the better ones potentially to win this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they all start to be huge now, don't they? Especially at the bottom end of the table. I mean, I don't think I've quite experienced anything like it, where 10 teams, is it 10, 11 teams separated by 4 or 5 points is just quite unbelievable at this stage. So every time you're playing against somebody at the bottom half, or you pick up a win in the bottom half, then it's huge for you, because everybody can't win. So nothing really changes in my mind as to think that you still need, is 38 points still enough? Like I said at the start, I still believe it is, but it's your accumulation of points. But certainly if you can beat somebody in and around you, then of course it helps.
On that basis, last week's point, well, everyone's crucial. You throw another one in, if that...
Yeah, I mean, we were, I had to give myself I was going home and thinking, I'm disappointed here because we only drew with Spurs, and come on, Steve, give yourself a shake, I mean, when you look back on it, we played against a very, very good Tottenham team, and we were stuck on 23 points for the whole of January, which wasn't easy. January wasn't easy for us at all, so we've got off and moving again, and if we can pick something up away from home at any ground you go to in the Premier League, then it's a good result.
Amidst all the managerial chaos there's been in the top flight of division this season, that the change at Sunderland seems to have had the most impact, hasn't it?
Well, you have to be fair to Gus. He's done a fantastic job in difficult circumstances, and they've got to a cup final, and they've gone from being bottom of the league to midway, which they've had a hell of a run. They're probably the informed team in the bottom half of the division, so we know what to expect. It's going to be a big game, big occasion for both sides.
It's not an easy club to manage, that one, is it?
No, it's not. It certainly isn't. But the one thing it is, it's got a huge support and a big club and wonderful infrastructure, and of course, I'm sure Gus, like all of us, are hope that he can be the one that turns the club into what it should be, which is a big club, and going at the top end of the division rather than at the bottom end of the division.
Too many home games this season, I would imagine, where they've gone in as sort of clear favourites, if you like. This is definitely one of them for them, isn't it?
Well, I think when you go into a big game like tomorrow, then I think underdogs, favourites, it doesn't really matter. Both teams will be looking at it and thinking, we've got a chance to win the match here. And certainly Gus's philosophy will be like that, and we've got to take the similar approach. It's a game where we know if we play well, we can take something from. Going to be difficult because they're playing well, but we'll look forward to that challenge.
You've got the two big signings. Are they still in the process of bedding in? Is that sort of ongoing?
Well, the longer they play together, then I think the more comfortable they'll become with each other. But we've seen flashes of it last week. Shane gets the headlines because he scores after 12 minutes, but Yella, on another day, he might have scored 2 or 3. So he hits a free kick which is inches wide, he hits the post, he had an effort which just goes over the bar. So if he can turn the performance level what he put in and turns them into goals, then I am convinced, like I was when I brought them in, that they will be a handful for any defence, and that's what we've got to look for.
That's the most damning statistic at the moment, is the lack of goals.
Yeah, but if you look at the bottom half of the division, then we're all the same. We can't go and get an Aguero or an Negredo or a Wayne Rooney, or that's why the Suarez, we can't get them. So we're all looking for somebody who can make a difference in our league, and if Long and Jelavic play together and get 20, 25 goals a season between them, then, if I do my job right, then we're looking to stay in the division. And so far, up to now, they've had a decent start with it. And that's got to be our aim, for the club, is to, as I've said repeatedly for the last 6 months, our aim is to stay here and stay here for a few years and see how big and how good we can make the club.
Looking forward to your usual warm reception.
I'm sure I'll get a lovely, nice, warm reception. It should be here, one to behold.
How much are you looking forward to going back there?
Well, I haven't been back since I left. As far as I'm concerned, now it's gone. In Football Manager, as we've just been joking about beforehand, we can joke about it. When it happens and what happens, then it disappoints you. But it's gone for me. I've been here now nearly a couple of years. There's been 2-3 managers since I've left Sunderland. I think let's get on with our lives. I'm sick of the boring rat trap where I get come from it, with it spouting on about it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm only looking forward to it if we win, though.
Okay, and obviously in the transfer deadline, you had borrowed for the first part of the season Danny Graham from them. They withdrew him right at the last minute to take him to Middlesbrough. Was that an irritant to you? How much of an irritant?
Well, we knew. The one thing in all of it is that we tended to forget about Danny Graham, and the one thing I didn't want is to deny him. He's seen that those 2 people come in. He wasn't our player, and the one thing I wanted him to do, and he wanted to do, was play football. So we obviously have been in contact with Sunderland, and we knew that was going to be the situation. And to be fair to Danny, he's got his wish in the end is to play and come back to the North East, and I wish him well.
But of course, with them withdrawing him at the last minute, you didn't have the opportunity to get somebody else.
I wouldn't have. I said all along, I wouldn't have mattered anyway. There was nobody there really. I mean, Tom Ince had already gone. He'd committed himself. He was the one that we were looking at if something happened, but he was already committed himself to Crystal Palace. So there was nobody really that we were looking to take on loan.
Now, just go back to Bryn's point about Jelic and Long up front. You went 4-4-2 against Tottenham to start with. Is that the formation now you will have to play to accommodate both inside?
Well, if I go to a 3, we can still play 2 strikers. When we made the decision, or I made the decision that we're going to go with Jelic and Long, the one thing we needed was a bit more firepower. That was pretty obvious. So we've got them in the building. We've now got a Luco as well, who's come through 60 minutes on Thursday in a reserve team game. And of course we've got Sagbo and we've got Matty Fryatt, which gives us a bit more firepower in that area, because as we've known, it's a long, hard season. Aluko, was a revelation at the start of the season. Unfortunately, he's played 6-7 times in 14 months. So we hope that he can get a clean bill of health. And as I keep saying repeatedly, you're only as good as your strikers. Any team is as good as its strikers, what you've got at the top end of the pitch at this level. So we hope that they can all gel together and make the difference.
And Shoney, is he close, far?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've given him an extra week, 10 days. We've done as much as we possibly can. He has worked physically as hard as he possibly can. Sometimes now you need a bit of luck to go with you and think, well, he's had his fair share of injuries, Shoney. And we've only seen him 6-7 times in 12 months. And we know what a big player he is for us. So he could be involved tomorrow, in terms of in the squad anyway. We'll make another decision on him, see how he is today after playing at 60 minutes on Tuesday.
Okay. And where are you on Robbie Brady? Because he seemed a bit off the mark on Saturday. George seemed to offer you a lot more when he came on and replaced him. Where do you think Robbie is?
Well, I think Robbie for the first time in his life has had an injury, and if truth be known, he hasn't quite recovered from it physically or mentally with it. It's took him a bit of time. So we hope by playing and getting training again, then the injury can leave him, because it's been difficult. He's had a setback with it. We thought he was okay. He came back after the injury after 2 weeks, maybe too quickly. He was desperate to play, and he's maybe come back too early in that respect and broke down, obviously. So we hope that, touch wood, that he's okay. And once he's okay physically wise after his injury, he'll be fine. He's a good player, the kid. And we must remember, he's only a boy. He's only 21-year-old. So we have to, guide him through this, because it's the first time in his career that he's probably had something like this.
Steve, how much of a bearing do you think the last game with the 2 sendings off will have on this one?
I don't think so. I mean, it obviously made life very, very much easier for us, although to be fair to the second half, Sunderland defended very well. So what's happened in the past is the past. Tomorrow's another game. It'll be a big stage. They're going well. They've got a cup final to look forward to in the next couple of weeks, and all of a sudden it's hunky-dory at Sunderland at the moment. So we know what to expect. Big, passionate crowd who'll be desperate to beat us, I'm sure of that. So let's look forward to the challenge of it.
And after their win over their great rivals the other weekend, does that leave them with a hangover, or does that leave them a spring in the step?
Well, I mean, the one thing it does is breeds a little bit of confidence, and when you go against a confident team, it's sometimes obviously more difficult than a team that's that hasn't won in 6 games, because then you become a little bit desperate. So it's going to be a difficult game, but then again, I hope it's going to be a difficult game for them too. It will be. I'm convinced of that, because there's a lot at stake.
And just finally from me, completely lost what I was going to say now. That's great, isn't it?
Wonderful.
Just Steve, with Shawnee, does it take a bit of pressure off his comeback, the fact you've now got Roman Yelovich? Not as much expectation from the start.
Well, I think in management, you're always trying to rush your good players back. You always want them on the pitch. And the one thing you need a squad. I think we're all intelligent enough to know nowadays you need a squad of players. And, we've had Shawnee missing, as I said, for the best part of a year. And we missed him last year. We missed him last year for the run-in when we needed him. And certainly when we seen him back in the team at the start of the season, then we realised what a good player he is. So we hope that he can stay injury-free. We hope that we haven't rushed him back too quickly. We've tried to do everything we possibly can in terms of nursing him back through where he should be. So we think he's ready. Shawnee himself up here thinks he's okay. So he'll take some part in being part of the squad.
But looking ahead to Brighton in the FA Cup, would that be a good one
Maybe.
to get him started?
Maybe. We've got a game Tuesday. Maybe. We'll have a look at that. Maybe and hope that he's okay. Yeah.
In terms of how he's trained since he's come back, he said he feels he's right mentally. Is that a really important thing?
Well, when you get a serious one like he has, then of course up here's a lot to do with it. To be fair to Shawnee, he's been strong with it, and that's the downside of any footballer. When you've got a serious injury, there's always doubts. When you do something to your Achilles in particular, there's always doubts. So we hope he's over it, and we hope that he gets a good run. He certainly deserves it with the work he's put in, and let's hope he's okay.
And just finally, do you have any injury problems apart from the one
No,
you know about?
Chester and that's about it really. That's it.
And I finally remembered, it takes me
Good.
a while. The older you get, the less more difficult, because I haven't been here for a little while, but so I imagine you've answered it in the past, and I'm going to ask it now. Your away form, how concerning is it for you?
Well, it's a concern, but then again, we knew, our first 10 fixtures were against the top 9 or 10 in the Premier League. We've been to all the big stadiums apart from Old Trafford. So now we've got the bottom half of the division to play, so it's imperative that we pick up 2 or 3 results. Well, home form has been excellent, and it's needed to be. If we can just go and be average away from home from now at the end of the season, then we'll be fine. And I think that's got to be our aim.